What's up, Honey Badger Nation? Thanks for tuning in. What's good, man?
Cheers.
Cheers. I got my new sapphire hat, coffee mug.
I do see that.
Little sapphire beach bar.
Yep.
It's magical, man. You know, of all the times that I've been there, we had one day that was, I've never seen it as calm as it was. And it was just one day. And as you know, I mean, you know, the winds, and I think when we went out on the boats on Monday, I talked to you on Tuesday. I think we went to the boats on Monday. We had the Christmas trade winds, right? You know, the winds that come in, you know, this time of the year.
Yeah.
And it was a little bumpy, kind of bouncing around. But I think it was, I don't know if it was Tuesday and I talked to you, it might have been Wednesday or Thursday. I woke up and I went out and I said, something's different. I was like, I've never seen, it was like glass in Megan's Bay. And then that afternoon we went over to Sapphire, which is down towards Red Hook. And if you know, when you walk in through Sapphire and it's just glorious, right? As it opens up.
Yeah.
But usually there, it's kind of water's coming in. Bro, it was as clear as it is in Megan's Bay. And I've never seen so many people in the water. Usually you can't be in the water. It's so rough. And I was like, man, it's something special about it. And I've never seen it that calm. And it was absolutely magical. And it's just one of those things, right? You remember that, you anchor that experience in, and it was, man, it was a magnificent day for sure.
Well, sorry we weren't there to join you on that one. I'm kind of regretting the decision at this point, not getting out of town for a little bit. But yep, we're in case everyone was wondering, we're talking about our favorite place on the planet Earth, which is the U.S. Virgin Islands and St. Thomas, St. John, the surrounding BVIs, and it is our playground.
It is.
Johnny just got back from a nice. You earned that one, man. You needed it. You needed to get out. And you need to relax, and let some of that stress go. So hopefully that you got that, and that's why we do what we do. We do it for the freedom. We do it for the ability to build memories and make new memories and have new experiences with the people that we love. And that is we like to do it best. So glad you guys got to experience that.
I want to freestyle with you here for a second, but everybody tuning in, if you got any questions, thoughts, throw it in the comments. I mean, if you're listening in right now, we just shared kind of one of our favorite places on the planet. Share in the comments what your favorite place on the planet is. We'd love to make sure you guys out there, you're listening, tuning in to us here. But if you got any other questions, real estate business related, agent attraction related, feel free to throw those in as well. But I want to freestyle with you for a second here, Al, as kind of looking at planning and kind of mindset, things moving into the new year. And I had not last week, obviously being at Sand Dollar, but the week before that, I had two really just powerful conversations. And one was with GoGo as we did kind of 2024 planning with her entire organization, and she opened it up to the public, and it was fantastic. I think we had, I think I told you like 370 was on at one time, which was incredible conversation. We ended up going for 2 hours, and so you know, a 60-minute expert mentors session turned into. I figured we might go 90, but we ended up going two full hours. We had well over 250 people still on with us at the 2-hour mark. So it was pretty crazy. So if you guys didn't get a chance to check that out, it's Expert Mentors 2024 Planning with GoGo. It's on my YouTube channel. We also pushed it to the podcast. But then on Thursday, I had, you know, why we even go to the place we go to in St. Thomas, Mr. Blake Sloan on the podcast. It's crazy. The first time, you know, episode, I mean, we're almost 500 episodes deep on the podcast, and I've never had him on. And, you know, he dropped a message for about 45 minutes that I know in my core that everybody must listen to. If if they're serious about thriving into the new year. And, just a lot of the leadership traits and capabilities that he embodies and has infused into his organization, and why they're able to do what they do. One of the top teams, top organizations in Myrtle Beach. And, his goal this year, and I think he shared this with you at your birthday in Key West, his goal this year was for him, Kaylee, and Luke to spend 1 week every month for 12 consecutive months to travel. And the business obviously went backwards a little bit, but Myrtle Beach is way down. They didn't follow the market, and they stayed pretty true. But his profitability is off the charts. What he clears, doing 700, 800 transactions a year, it's pretty remarkable. But it comes down to, when you listen to that conversation, you'll be like, okay, I get it. Now I understand why you're able to do what you do, just from a leadership perspective. And so it's a must listen conversation to, for you guys, if you're really, really committed and serious about your life and your business moving into the future. And so on the podcast, Coach Code podcast, it's episode 486 with Blake Sloan. And then we stacked them back to back. 485 is me and Go-Go. And then 486 is with Blake. And so I can't emphasize that enough to all of you guys that come in. Go listen to that conversation. I mean, it's that powerful.
Yeah, man, I really love that you brought that back up about the one vacation a month. It really embodies the whole reason why I don't know about everyone listening here, but why we do what we do. And a lot of people can't even think of the concept of doing that. I remember the first person had brought that up to our mastermind group and actually did it, was Jeff Cook.
Yeah.
And Jeff Cook was, he's a dear friend of ours, was part of NAEA for years, and part of the mastermind. And him and his wife, and I think up until their kids were getting, obviously school age, but up until even that point, they were taking one trip per month, one vacation. Sometimes it was a week, sometimes it was just an extra long weekend, whatever it was, but it was intentional and it was planned out. And it absolutely can be part, if you make it a priority and if you commit to it, which beautifully rolls right into the next thing, is that you can't get your business to that spot until you commit to doing the uncomfortable things, until you commit to getting out of your own way, doing the right things in the right order. It's a commitment. It's going all in. And here's the funny thing, is that people think of that and like, oh man, that sounds like I got to commit. Like I've been flying by the seat of my pants and I'm doing okay. Okay isn't inspiring your kids. Okay isn't inspiring the people around you, just being okay. I hear people talk about it all the time. Like, that Al, I know you're successful with EXP. You're doing great, but I'm okay where I'm at. Well, is that in itself is a problem? Mm-hmm. Being okay. Mm-hmm. Okay isn't going to get you to a point where you're going where you want, when you want, with who you want, and taking off for once a week. I can tell you this: guilty as charged. I'm in somewhat of a position to do that right now because I still have one child in school, but somewhat in a position to do something similar to that, and I'm not doing it. So I'm gonna hold myself accountable right now that I'm committed to planning. And in fact, just 2 days ago, we were planning our next couple ski trips and where we're going to go for spring break. And I've been really bad. I mean, I'm good at planning vacations out, like kind of like last minute, but not like, let's plan them out a year in advance. Let's get that calendar in order with our rocks. And it's a commitment. Either way you go, you're either committing, you're going to commit to flying by the seat of your pants in your business, or you're going to commit to scaling it like our friend Blake Sloan has done so beautifully, and making it where his business is working for him. He's not working for it.
Prints money.
Huge shift.
Yeah. It prints money. Here's the aha that I've had around this the last few days, Al. And I have not been excited in a long time to listen to a business book as excited as I have been the last few days. And I started, and I'm gonna come full circle to your okay scenario. And what I think everybody listening when they say that, right? Like if you say that out loud, I'm okay. Basically, you're saying you're okay with being comfortable. You're okay with being the cousin complacent.
Mhm.
And the reality is that there's only forwards and backwards. There's no idling in between. You're either growing or you're dying. You're evolving or you're not. And when you say okay, you're not evolving and you're not growing. Period. Like fight me on it. And what's happening is that goes back to our belief, and it is going to happen. It is the death of the real estate agent happening all over again. And you either evolve or you die, period. But here's what happens. There's certain stages that we fight to get to. Hierarchy of needs. Very first is survival. We would almost every one of us on here would do anything for survival. Then you get from survival, you get to status, right? You're fighting that status. You're finding that school for your kids. You're finding that house. You're finding that car. You're finding that trip, right? You got status. Then once it's status, it's freedom. And a lot of people, you yourself, right? Blake, there's a lot of people. Freedom, we've achieved it. Okay. But there's also one step beyond that, and that's legacy. And I was on my walk this morning, and I'm going to come full circle to the book and where this is really being driven. And he talks about this, right? He said, there's two things, and we know this in planning, is that there's only two things that matter. Where are we going long-term, and what are we doing in the next 90 days to get there? And the best concept I've heard of this is that you want to embrace the Toyota way. And the Toyota way is 20 years into the future. You're looking that far down the road. Okay. Now, remember, we're working through the 4 cycles here, right? Survival, status, freedom, legacy. You're like, well, I've achieved freedom, but what about legacy? I don't know. What does that look like for you? And I'm going to tell you my aha moment on my walk this morning with this. And then the other is embrace the American way, which is urgency, like no other sense of urgency, being able to be flexible. What are we doing in the next 90 days, right? Where are we going in 20 years? Whereas we're moving through survival, we're moving through status, we're moving through freedom to legacy. And then what are we doing in the next 90 days? It's the duck, right? We're paddling like hell underneath the water. Where are we going? Those are the only two things that matter, right? We've worked with Vern Harnish for so long, and that's what he kept beating in our heads. Where are we going? What are we doing in the next 90 days? Those are the only things that matter. Think long-term, operate within the next 90 days. That's moving us closer to that long-term. And I was thinking through this morning on my walk, I was like, I get what he's saying about legacy, but what am I building to be able to pass down? And I started thinking about it. I was like, well, Caitlin's going through getting her real estate license. And if she takes off and she loves the career of real estate and she gets into it and she loves it, commits, does the work, learns the skills, gets her out of status into freedom through real estate. Then I started to think about Chet Holmes and the ultimate sales machine in his organization. And he brought his daughter into the organization. And when Chet passed, she grabbed the reins and she ran with it. And I was like, I would love a legacy to build a company that my daughter would want to step in and run after I'm done. And so that's like into the big future, thinking through that. But the problem, and this is addressed, this is why, like, everybody I talk to, I'm like, get this book, get it on Audible, get listening to it today. You love this guy. You absolutely love him. And it's Patrick Bet-David.
Oh, yeah.
And his new book came out last week while we were in St. Thomas. I didn't have a chance to dive into it fast enough, but I've been listening to it every morning, and I look forward to listening to it. and it's called Choose Your Enemies Wisely.
Yeah.
Choose Your Enemies Wisely.
I didn't even know it came out. I pre-ordered it like 2 months ago.
Yeah. Choose Your Enemies Wisely. And he said that it is the number one driver. And we all have that enemy, right? We've talked about it, right? Short-term energy, that ignition is who are you trying to prove wrong? Long-term sustainable is who you're trying to make proud. That's it right there. But he said what happens is that we all get an enemy, right, to get through survival. And we might get an enemy that's going to get us to status. But then we get into freedom and we lose sight of our enemies. And he's like, you got to choose an enemy wisely. And he gave a great example of this with Tom Brady. And he said, it's real easy to see the enemies that Tom chose coming out of college and getting drafted where he got drafted, right? Who did he try to prove wrong? Every quarterback that was drafted above him and every organization that passed on him.
Yeah.
That was his driving force. Then he started winning championships, and his drive was then to become the best. So guess who his enemy became? MJ. Because when you think the best, you think Jordan. I don't care, any sport,
right.
Anything. When somebody says Jordan, you're like, okay, got it.
Yeah.
He wanted to be, you don't say Jordan, you say Brady.
Yeah, the GOAT of GOATs.
The GOAT of GOATs. So that was driving him.
Random House Audio present.
Well, then he goes to Tampa. Guess who his enemy became? And when he was in Tampa, Belichick in the Patriot organization. Does that mean he hated them? No. Loves those guys. But they became his enemy because he wanted to prove to Belichick and the entire Patriot organization that he could win one more without them.
Yeah.
And so I cannot, like, I'm only an hour plus into this book, and I already know how true it is because we've all been there. We've all had that chip on our shoulder that we're trying to prove somebody, but we just get to a certain level that chip is no longer there.
Yeah.
So we got to go manifest it. We got to go create it. And we always got to take, and this is what Patrick talks about, is that great business planning takes emotion and logic. The enemy is the emotion, the planning, the systems, the team, the money. That's logic.
Yeah.
And it takes both to be able to achieve anything great in life. And I cannot recommend it enough, man. I think it's a message that so many people need to hear. So many people need to hear right now.
So funny you bring this up. First of all, thank you for reminding me because, like I said, I forgot about it. I pre-ordered it, and I think I was actually on the plane to Dallas for strategy and went to go listen to it. Wasn't ready yet.
Wasn't ready, yeah.
So now it's ready, which I'm super stoked to listen to it. And but back to strategy, I brought that up in strategy when I'm like, it wasn't really about this book, but the title of it, Choose Your Enemies Wisely. I told Jay, I said, we hit this freedom part, and now I'm not gonna lie, we fell back on our laurels a little bit, and the thing is we didn't have a common enemy. Back in 2010, 2011, 2012, it was the AFA, the average frustrated agent who was just lazy. They didn't have drive. They weren't open-minded in learning. They weren't marketing based. They were transactional based. We had just a common enemy that we were looking to put out of business, and it was the amateur, basically.
Yeah.
And we wanted to surround ourselves with groups of professionals, which we have succeeded in. And I said, that's what who's our next enemy? Like, just the group started thinking about it. I don't think we landed on one yet, but it is definitely something to think about. I'll share this. If anyone's listening to this and you're wondering, like, how does this apply to my real estate business? I can share this. When I walked into, I had left a company that I helped start. It was a discount brokerage way back in the early 2000s, late 90, like 99, 2000. And I was there for about 5-6 years. And I was 2006, beginning of 7, I went to Remax. And I walked in the Remax office. I was new to Remax, not new to the business, but new to that office. some of the people didn't know who I was because we were a discount broker. I didn't market myself at all for the last 5-6 years. And this lady who did know me, but kind of looked down at me a little bit, was just like, she's like, so you think you're going to make it here? Like I was going to make it at the Remax office. And I still love that lady to this day. I do, but she was the enemy.
Mm-hmm.
I said to myself, I didn't say this out loud, but to myself, I said, all right, I'm going to see you at the bottom of that thing, and you're going to see my name at the top of the whiteboard of the sales. That's how I'm going to show you, you know? And I just had that chip on my shoulder, that fire in the belly. And it drove me to get up every single day. And that was in a tough market too, you know, to build, to innovate, to stay in learner mode, to just keep, you know, sticking my nose in marketing and coaching and learning more and more about how to build my business and attract business versus chase it. And it turned out pretty good, but you gotta keep that. Like, what's the next? Who is the enemy? I love that. I can't wait
too. It's so good. And, you know, you think about it, because motivation will only take you so far. And, you know, you get to a place to where you can breathe for a second. You got to have something that's keeping that fire, like you said, lit. You know, because, I mean, there's, you know, discipline, yes, to a certain point. You know, having a proven process that you trust, yes. Hard work, yes. But if there's not a desire, then it's not going to happen. Yeah. So it's so good.
I got an inspirational story too. I got to share with you. I wasn't planning on sharing this, but I'm going to share it because it's rare that I meet someone on these calls. It happens, but it's rare that I meet someone that blows me away. That's like inspires me. And I'm just like, dang, this guy gets it, right? So I meet this guy. We'll call him Richard. And Richard is 80 years old. He is a retired superintendent of a school district, and also is a, you know, so he's got retirement money coming in from that. He's disabled veteran, not disabled to the point where he can't, you know, he has income coming in from that as well. But he's 80 years old. He wakes up every morning with fire in his belly. He doesn't need this, not for the money, but he does 60 to 70 open houses per year. And he knew his numbers. He's like, that accounts for 85% of my business. The rest is sphere of influence, whatever. Like, he's dialed in. He's like, my business, I've been doing this for 5 years. My business has grown at a clip of 15 to 20% each year. You know, like, dude just knows it. And he's like, I'll do whatever. This is 80. He's 80, everyone. Okay. He's more than double some of your age. Where you're falling right now. Okay. And he doesn't need, like, you get to that point, you think to yourself, what am I going to be doing when I'm 80? You know what? This guy is hustling. He gets out of bed. He's like, I'm excited. Not even for the money. I just want to hit the goal.
Did you hit him? I mean,
he's like, my goal is 10 million this year.
What was his because?
I can get there doing open houses. So that's why he came on our webinar, watched the webinar, and he's like, I think I need to implement these funnels. I think that's what's going to get me there, you know? Yeah. And he's just like an inspirational breath of fresh air, man. And I know that's not talking about like the common enemy or whatever, but like, this is a guy who's 80 years old and still gets up and finds this motivation to get up and after it. And it was so inspirational. Like,
did he share his fire? Did he share the because?
Man, I had my second call with him today, and I should have asked him that question, and I didn't. But I will, and I'll come back next week and I'll share it with you.
Yeah, please do. It was a great reminder. I forget where I read it. It might have been something Adam Grant or somebody shared, but went down to the one of the most common words left out of leadership is because. And people need to be able to connect the emotion, the why, to the plan of understanding why we're trying to do what we're trying to do. And if we can just remember to, incorporate because into, what we're talking about, what we're trying to accomplish, the direction, the turns, the decisions, it helps collapse time, and it ratchets up the belief that our teams and our organizations have in what we're trying to do, especially when it doesn't feel like we're making any progress. And, and I think too, when we're articulating that and we're saying it, it's also reconfirming an affirmation for us. Hey, this is why we're doing this. This is why this is important. This is why we do what we do. And being able to constantly put that on repeat. And it's fascinating to see people's drive.
I think, when you're talking about someone that's, in those their 70s, 80s, 90s, even, I think for him, if I were to guess, the reason he does it is because that's how he chooses to live every day. That's for him, that's living. You know what I mean? Like shriveled up on his front porch on a rocker, waiting to die is his form of living. He's like, I love real estate. He did say this. He's like, I just love helping people.
Yeah.
Like he was saying all the right things. And I never asked him, but he's like, I just want to help more people. And he's so convincing because you can feel the belief coming out in the way he talks. He's not a slick salesperson. He's not, polished like that, but he is polished in a sense of confidence. And he's confident and like he's there to help people. If they don't want his help, he's fine, on to the next one. But like, imagine being 80 years old and springing out of bed with that kind of energy.
It's inspiring.
Yes, please.
Yes. It's super, super inspiring. And I was just kind of, just looking back what you're saying, and then looking back at like even, notes from the podcast with Blake. I mean, it's mindset, belief, but I was just thinking through, people tuning in or listening to this conversation, like looking for tactics or looking for this or looking for the skip button. Like none of that matters until you can nail emotionally inside what the fire is, and the mindset and the belief and the way you think, because none of the tactics on the outside match up, or they're not sustainable, or you're not going to trust it, or you're not going to do it until you understand why you're doing what you're doing and the purpose that you're gravitating towards.
Yep. And maybe you're equating, pain to committing at this high level, but the truth of the matter is it's actually feels great. There's nothing better than like a fulfilling, busy, productive week where you're just hyper focused on one thing and you're inching toward it little by little, and you're getting wins. You're not going to win big right off the rip, but you're going to hit these little tiny wins that start to add up. And that's the momentum. And you blink and the week went by. Dang. And I'm going to tell you this, weeks don't fly by when you're, shriveled up, curled up, feeling sorry for yourself, not moving, not getting out. Like they don't fly by, they drag by. They crawl by. It's a painful time, becomes pain.
Yeah.
And when it starts to fly on you, you're doing big things. Yeah. You're doing big things with the right people, and you're focused and you're committed. And so I want to mention this. If anybody's, I don't even know how many people are on right now, but we actually changed the name of our agent attraction group that meets at 10 a.m. Eastern time every Monday to agent attraction accountability, AAA. So agent accountability. The group meets. We just changed the group to being open. So if you want to search Honey Badger Agent Attraction Accountability, it used to be called Honey Badger Leaders. We have a brand new format that we're going with. We have the foundation of that format posted in the first link. There's 12 guidelines, if you will, laws, rules, whatever you want to call them. take a peek at that. And if that's up your alley, if you're open to being held accountable, if you're committed to hitting your 2024 goals, it's a good group to get in. This is all agent attraction, not production. We have lots of production. Everything we do is production based, except this group right here. This group meets to be held accountable, to be hitting their agent attraction milestones. Their what do we call them? Your lead measures with accountability. Your how many people are you connecting with? We just actually had one of our members in that group. We call him Santa Claus. Everyone knows him as Santa Claus, or Brian O. He actually have last week, his commitment, hope he doesn't mind me sharing this. I'm sure he doesn't. His commitment was to send out our book funnel that we put in it's a top of funnel type of funnel. And it's for the free book, $1 million offers, or I'm sorry, $1 million offers, $1 million follow-up for real estate agents. And we have that loaded into the app. He had a goal of sending it out to 200. He nailed that. He sent it out to 200. I think more than half of them took him up on the book offer. And that's his new goal for this week. And we're all holding each other accountable and lifting people up in this group and helping them hit. You're gonna feel inspired by this group. You're gonna get ideas on what you could start to take action for in the group. You can obviously ask some questions if you're stuck, but the main goal of this group is to move people into a cadence of accountability. And there isn't a higher form of love than accountability. And if that's what you're needing right now in your business, specifically at Agent Attraction, 10 a.m., join us there, 10 a.m. Eastern Time, 9 a.m. Central Time. And you can look for that again by just typing in. It's been a hidden Facebook group, and you can find it now because it's been unhidden by just typing in Honey Badger Agent Attraction Accountability Group.
Boom.
Yes, sir.
Love it. And you're spot on, right? I think those that say and those that do, especially when it comes to feedback loops and the people around them, is holding up the mirror for them. And, there's a right way to go about accountability. It has to be a lot of self-discovery, self-commitment, making sure it's your goals, alignment to your values, alignment to your freedom, to your legacy. But it's, doing what you say you're going to do without judgment. And then as you learn from it, you either keep it or you don't. What do you want to do about it moving forward? And so there's a right way and a wrong way with accountability. There's a right way and a wrong way with, communication, candid communication, open and real. Because a lot of that stuff, especially in a peer group, can be used as weapons instead of as assets and fuel to help you, continue to progress and grow. So super, super important, done the right way. And I know your framework, Al, it is done the right way. So everybody listening in, you want that accountability as it comes to increasing your head count from an agent attraction standpoint, either to your team or your organization. Get in that accountability group. And, I think from a leaders creating leaders, learn the framework, and then either pushing your key people to get in, or driving one yourself, but being able to hold your people accountable the right way is so key. And Al, I was talking to Elle about this, because you start to, as we get older. And I think we were talking about kiddos and relationships and their friend group. And I remember, my crew in high school, I mean, we were fucking 25, 30 deep, right? Brew crew, boys, like we're going to ride forever. And I think I got one that I stay in touch with. And it's just because as you continue to, there's nothing wrong with them. I mean, it's just you continue to evolve and you continue to grow, and you need more people around you telling you what you need to hear and not what you want to hear. And that's rare. I think truth is rare. And when you find people that will hold you accountable and tell you truth, those are the people you hang on to.
Yeah. I like going back to my hometown and visiting my crew like that. And I don't hate on them or look down
Not
upon
at
them
all.
or judge them. If anything, I have empathy for them because I was there. I just didn't get sucked back into the vacuum. And I was, and I, frankly, I encourage my boys to do the same thing. I mean, I gave them what I feel is a better life, by the following the principles that I learned from you and from Jay and Michael and all of our mastermind people. It elevated my thinking and it elevated my life. Therefore, it elevated my lifestyle that I was able to give to my family. But and then turn saying, look, guys, there's more than even what you're seeing here. Get out there and see it.
Yeah.
Go out there. You have an opportunity to get out there. And, if you want a career in real estate, great. Why don't you travel around and see what's outside of the Cleveland area market? There's, I can guarantee you, more fulfilling opportunities in markets than this market. And I'm not hating on it. I'm just being factual and truthful,
I love that.
So yeah, get out there. I don't know how we get off on that.
I know, man. I was just, I was smiling because I'm so envious and jealous of my son. He called me this morning, and he sent me a bunch of pictures. And so, he's gotten, 21-year-old kid. He's gotten to live a year in South Korea. Now, he's going to live 2 years in Germany. And he's just like adapting to it, loving it. He sent me some pictures that don't even look real. I'm like, bro, is that real? He's like, Dad, it absolutely is, right? Just the Christmas villages and festivities in Germany and where he's at. And he said, guess where I'm going in March? And I said, where? He said, we're going to go see Tyler Childress. I said, where are you going to go see Childress at? He goes, Amsterdam. I was like, get out of here. He goes, yeah. He goes, we're going to Amsterdam in March to see Tyler Childress in Amsterdam.
Yeah.
And he goes, my buddies are trying to get me to go for New Year's Eve. I was like, dude, you got to go. What are you doing? I mean, you're 21 years old. I was like, just, go have fun. I mean, remember, you're property of the U.S. government, so don't do anything to not,
Right.
But have fun.
Yeah.
Experience it, man. Live it up.
Awesome, brother. Well, hey, it was great connecting with you. Unless there's some questions, let's wrap this one up. And just a reminder, Honey Badger Nation, Honey Badger Agent Attraction Accountability Group. We have 239 members as of right now in this group. We'd love to have you if you're open to being held accountable. And
share a comparison. How many in the Honey Badger Nation?
13,600.
13,600 and 200 only that want to be held accountable.
Yeah. It's always usually a small percentage, and that's the way it's going to be. No judgment on anyone. That's totally fine. Do you? But we are there for you to get that deeper level of accountability to help you get to where you want to be in agent attraction and getting that leverage. I'm going to tell you this: 2024 might be the biggest year for recruiting for most people, other than maybe the first couple years we were with EXP. The first couple years, 2017, 18, I'll even say a lot of 19, huge growth years, right? And I'm not saying that it tapered off, but it did. I mean, of course, the pandemic hit, but we kept on trucking. But it has. We've tapered off as a company. I mean, we've been pretty much stuck at 89,000 agents for 3, 4, 5 months right now. And the reason is there's a lot of people leaving the industry, and then there's the good news is we're bringing experienced agents on. 80% of the people that are leaving have done 0 or 1 transaction in the last 12 months. Those are the people who are on their way out. And the ones that are bringing in, we're bringing in the top RE/MAX agent in Canada. We're bringing in the top agents in different markets around here, whether it be Keller Williams people, independent brokers bringing their entire brokerage, 300-400 agents over. We're bringing in the production out with the no production. This is going to be an opportunity. This year will feel like a 2017, 2018, 2019. I believe that that's the momentum we're going to be bringing in. Don't let the statistics, though, discourage you just because EXP stuck at 89,000. We are the majority of people are leaving are not productive. I can tell you this, the majority of people coming in are these big productive teams, brokerages, agents that just get it. And we have a big opportunity right now. And one way to get there is to commit and get around others who are committed and allow them to lift you up, and then you lift them up. We do not have judgment in here. We are holding you accountable. In an observation, you had mentioned it. It's observing without judgment. We don't ask why if you didn't hit your commitment for the week, we're not going to ask you why you didn't hit your commitment. We're just going to ask you, are you willing to recommit? Is it that important for you to recommit? And the next time you come back on Monday, you're going to have nailed it.
Yeah. And I don't want to hear your excuses. I just want to know what you want to do about it moving forward.
That's it. You're going to have plenty of inspiration of people that are in this group that are showing you that they're getting their shit done. Okay?
So just remind them again how they can get access to that.
Just go into Facebook and do a search for Honey Badger Agent Attraction Accountability.
There you go.
Or just type in Agent Attraction Accountability. And it should come up and you should be able to join it and we'll let you in.
Perfect.
All right.
Brother, appreciate you. Appreciate you guys. Keep your foot on the gas. It's separation season.
Appreciate you guys.
See you.